We can see with Bitcoin, it's really diminishing into an ending pattern here. We can see that when you look at the bars here, the ranges in the bar, they're quite big. I mean, we've got a few, obviously, you know, big ones here from certain events and so on. But generally speaking, you can see that the ranges in the bar are really tightening up. And this is on a weekly chart here. We can see the stochastics just flatlining here. We can see volume diminishing here for quite some time as well. So it's really coming to an end. The question is that, do we have a low in place? Has the upswing started, or is there one more little push to the downside? These are the things that I don't know, but I know that we're close to it. We will go in and we'll have a look at the bearish count, and we'll have a look at the bullish count for Bitcoin. But just before we do, there's another question that we need to answer as well, is that we do have a reasonably nice 5-wave structure, well, coming down. I mean, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. This bit towards the end here is a bit of a bumpy road, and it can be interpreted in different ways, but it does seem that we do have 5 waves coming down through here. The question is that do we have this whole move down here as an A wave and a B wave here and a C wave at this point? We've either got that, which we can sort of debate and talk about, or are we going down into 5 waves here for the A wave, and then we have a B wave over here, and we have a longer term movement coming into play over here for this? They're both I think that they're both valid. I don't think that that we need to answer it straight away. There's a good, if this was going to be an ABC up here for this B wave here, for example, then it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So it would be the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave up here. That's the only way to really look at that as such. But it does count nicely as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here as well. So there's a bit of a debate about that. But even if we had a rally, it's going to be in line with the stock market. I know that's not what Bitcoiners want to hear, but in that case, if we come down here to say 15,000, because that's probably where the low would be, then we would be back up retesting this block of supply up here at the 50-60% retracement level up here. So this, from this top here to this low here, is really where it's at, and then this little block in here represents that, and then this block over. So really that's the supply level at that point. So that's where the market would rally to, at least. So we could have a look at what type of pattern we have when we get to here. I mean, if it's a very clear, you know, corrective pattern, well, then that's fine. If we get 5 waves to this move, well, then we know that we'll get a pullback, and then we'll go further up. So there's things along the way that we can work out along that, but I just thought we'll just touch base on that situation. So we're just going to leave this to the side at the moment. So the takeaway from the weekly chart is we can see, well, you can see the ranges diminishing. It's like there's no one else to sell, so to speak. The hodlers are hodling, you know, and we can see that in the indicators. We can, you know, I'm not a big indicator person, but, you know, they help you swim between the flags, so to speak, and so on. But really, it's about the price, and it's about the volume. And the volume is diminishing, and the volume is probably more important than the price, because the volume confirms the price action. So we can see that it is diminishing here and diminishing here. Like I mentioned before, the pattern in this little area through here, it can be interpreted in different ways. And, you know, you put half a dozen Elliott dudes in a room, and, you know, they'll come out with 20 different answers, so to speak. So it's, you'll see a lot of Elliott folks with different counts in this particular area here. So it is what it is. Let's go into the daily chart here for a moment. So I think most Elliottians will come up to the point that this is wave 3 and wave 4. This is where it gets a little bit iffy, and it can be counted in different ways. So it is a bit of a problem. So I don't, you know, when something is unclear, I like to state that it's unclear and say that I don't know, and come up with some solutions to say, well, how are you going to fix that, Pete? You know, at what point do we go in another direction? Yeah, you can count this in different ways here. We could look at this as wave 1 here with an A wave here, and then an A, B, C for the B wave here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C wave for wave 2. That's good. I mean, the thing I like about that, it gives us that strong drop here as a nice third wave. And then the fourth wave here could be counted as the A wave, the B wave here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can take a bit more look at that. So if that's the case, then, and the market moves up from this, moves up through here, then we would need to be bullish at that point. That would make sense at this stage. It's possible that we could view it in a different way as well. If we were going to look at it with the low being in place, well, then wave 4 would need to come over here, and then this wave 5 over here would need to come over here, and this would be the 5th wave here. Well, not quite here, actually on this low here. And then we would need to look at this as wave 1 here with a wave 2 to pull back in here, and so on. But we'll wait to see if that gets breached first, okay? But what we're going to do is, like we've been looking at stocks in terms of a certain way, we're going to have a look at the daily chart, which we're on now. We'll look at that for both counts. We'll talk about being bullish and bearish on that, which we are here. But when we go in to have a look at the charts, we'll look at the bullish on the 20, the 10, and the 5. The 10 is really for alternative counts. There is an alternative count coming down here that makes all of this, the whole move down as an ABC. I understand that. We could have a look at that, but not today. So we can have a look at the bullish count on the 20 and the 5K tick. And the bearish count will be on the 50K and the 1K. So we can go in and have a quick look at those. But that's it. If this is correct with wave 4 here, then we'll have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. And then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I'm thinking the move down here would be in line with what we're looking at for the S&P 500 and some other markets as well. So they would come in line with that. So we'd look for a turn a little bit higher here for that at the 61.8% from that high to that low, 61.8%. So that is a little bit higher up there. But yeah, so we'd come down and have a bounce off this 15,000 here. So this is a medium level. We'll talk about the trading levels. So first of all, we've got the major trading level here. So this is really what the price is. It's really connected to this. And when a market drops through this, it normally goes back and retests it. And that's what we were looking for with the S&P 500 at the 4,000 mark. So it hasn't moved up that much in this regard. It's still kind of, moving with the general NASDAQ tech stocks. I know Bitcoiners don't like to hear that, but, the world is connected, and things do move together. There is correlation. Some things don't correlate all the time, but when they do, it's kind of useful. And we are seeing a high correlation across lots of markets at the moment, especially in the FX and indices and so on. And of course, follow the money, and it affects other products, doesn't it? Other industries like commodities and so forth. So, yeah, so that's it. So let's go in and have a look at the bullish count. But the bullish count won't be triggered unless this top gets taken out here. Okay, so we'll look at the 20K and the 5K, and then we'll go back and have a look at the bearish count on the 50 and the 1. So on the 20K here, 20,000 ticks. So on the bullish move here, we can look at wave 5 being in the low here for this, and this would be an A, B, C, D, E here for the 4th wave, and then down for the 5th wave to make the 5th wave here. So over here we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 1 here, back for wave 2, then 1 and 2, and then we can look at how this is going to build up here. So I'm thinking that we'll get some little move in here up to here perhaps. We may even have a top in here already on this, but we'll see. We won't go into the guessing game here, but the 61.8% is a little bit higher. Let's go into the 5K tick and just get a bit more detail on this particular area through here. So on this low here of wave 1 up here, wave 2 here, and then wave 1 here with an A, B, C for wave 2 here. Look, I could count this up in different ways, but this is just one way to count it, with wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and moving up into this particular space. As I mentioned, the what we need to move through, or what we really want to find as support coming in from this point here, is this little area here. We really want to see the first step in moving up here is to find that space there, the 17,600, 17,500. We want to see that as the retested support, as a tested support. Then it's likely that we would move up further at that point and take this top out here. On the bearish count, we'd be looking at this as wave 1 here, of course, and then the A wave here, the B wave here, and then a C wave up here. So let's go in and have a look at that on the 50K, 50 bet. So this would be wave 3 and 4 here, and then 1 here, and then an A, B, C up here, coming into that space up here where we mentioned the 17,600 roughly for wave 2. So we need this to basically fail, you know, to this point, and then we would come down for wave 3, 4 and 5 of something of this nature. You know, we can put this over here wherever that needs to be. Yeah, so let's go to the 1000 ticks, because the bearish count's on the 50 and the 1. This is going to be a bit of a standard through all my charts. I haven't gotten to all of them and fixed them all up. It's a bit of a job, but let's just come in here and okay, so we've got wave 3 here with an A, B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C wave, for wave, what's the name here? And then in this case, we can look at it like this with wave 1 here with an A wave, and A, B, C for the B wave, and then look at this as wave 1 and 2. Nice strong third wave here, isn't it? So I can see that this, you know, we may even have a top in here already, but don't think so just yet. But what I wanted to point out, it does appear that I haven't pulled it apart, but it looks very impulsive in terms of 1 and 2 in here. Nice strong third wave, and we'll have to reconcile this, but I'm thinking that we would have some sort of ABC pattern back up here, and then wave C here, and then wave 5 up here for this, and then we can put this wave 4 in over here, something of that nature, you know. And yeah, so if we were going to short this here, then we would be looking for we would need to see a reversal at this point. I mean, there's going to be, the market's going to stall here anyway, because it's the 61.8% retracement level, so to speak. The main number up here, of course, is the 500. And then after number 5, what comes after 5 is 8. So this would be 8 here. And if we're talking about 8, then we'll be talking about group 2. So we'd be talking about 17,650 in there, and then 1722, 22 and a half as subgroup 2 in there in terms of the trading level. So that would be that resistance zone in here. So it will play out between group 2 here and the 17.5 here, so we'll be able to work this area here. But what we're really looking for on the bearish side is that we'd be looking for a quick drop here, and this drop we want to see in 5 waves, and then there would be a corrective rally at that point. If you've got 5 waves here, then you can short it here, or you can safe trade, you can short it under here as well. It doesn't really matter. If you get 5 waves here, there's going to be some sort of counter trend rally, and then another move down at that point. Now, that still might be, it could just get 3 waves down and push up again from that point. That's the risk, you know. But otherwise we'll end up seeing 5 waves down, but we'll talk about more about that when we get there on all of that. So I think there's some sort of little ABC pattern to go into that space there first. So that's the bullish and the bearishness of it all. And you know, to me, which one do I think is right? Well, I'm kind of thinking, so if I bring the S&P up, which would be the same as the NASDAQ, is that we were looking for the S&P here to move down for wave 1 or wave A, and then to rally back to the 50-60%, which it's done. And it is displaying like 5 waves coming down here now in the NASDAQ and the S&P and that. So I'm thinking that these indices need to push down while the US dollar pushes back to the to the upside, and that can help push. Where are we here? Is it further down? US dollar. So US dollar here is in a bit of a bear market at the moment. We're looking to get 5 waves down, a push back and push down. See, this pushing down here will, push commodities up and indices and so on. So it can also push Bitcoin back up. But if we just go into the 2K here to look at the end result here, so Bitcoin's been pushing up, but when this pushes here, this push back up here, then that's going to put the pressure on this here to push down at that point. So I'm thinking this is going to push down, which will push, which will eventually pull this down as well here. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. I mean, Bitcoin lately over the months has been kind of doing its own thing, but it hasn't really strayed. It's like it was working with the Nasdaq pretty much spot on. But as Bitcoin has grown up through this, this whole move down here further, it's played a slightly different part. But this is really what, the S&P has been doing as well, the indices. So they're kind of all in the same boat. So we need to acknowledge that a little bit and see how things go. But anyway, we'll know shortly next week, I guess, or maybe late this week. We'll get some sort of idea of where Bitcoin is going to go. Is it going to move down to here, or is it going to, pull back from that point and then push up again? So it won't be long now before we understand what's going on. It's just that, we've been here a long time, haven't we? But as we saw on the daily chart, everything seems to be drying up on the bearish side. So let's see how the cookie crumbles. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.